Hey guys, it's Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction. And I share my everyday life with you, kind of like vlogging and stuff like that. Anyway, I had made a video and I had went live, but then my son spiked another fever, so I went ahead and jumped off. I got him settled. I got him in a nice cool bath to bring that temperature down, and he is relaxing watching a movie, and I can come over here and talk to you guys now. And I just put up a video that I recorded, and it was about being an addict and not being ashamed. So being proud to be an addict. And so I wanted to talk to you guys about shame, and about how shame and guilt really doesn't have any place in recovery, because it only keeps me held back, only keeps me sick. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about here is about life experience versus learned knowledge. And so basically what I'm talking about is, hey Bill, what I'm talking about is life experiences, living the experience versus learning about addiction versus living addiction and coming out on the other side of it. So I thought that it could be a really interesting interactive topic for us to talk about, right? Yes, Bill, it is ruthless. So I was trying to think, because if you guys haven't noticed, I'm back on my grind, and I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling just optimistic about life. I'm feeling great about my YouTube channel. I'm feeling great about you guys. I'm interacting with my people, and I'm in my element. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about. So in my experience, you know, with living life and learning life experiences, learning experiences from from addiction, and having, okay, so like I always talk to you guys about, the disease of addiction is a progressive illness. Okay, it starts out, a lot of us start out the same way. A lot of us started out in our addiction because we were insecure, we wanted to fit in, and peer pressure got a hold of us, and we started partying, and we turned into high school party animals, and then graduated up into more addiction. Or maybe we were prescribed a medication that we became dependent on, and then got pulled off of it and realized that we were also addicted, and then seeked that drug out after that. But that's kind of how we got started, right? But somehow we got started, you know what I mean? And so a lot of the times when I would go to treatment, because I've been to 5 rehabs, okay? So the first treatment center I ever went to was a place called Quapaw House. Great treatment center. So I'm going to share each one of my experiences with you guys, the experience that I had with my counselors at each one of these treatment centers, because some of my counselors were addicts, and some of them were counselors that had earned their degree through college. And then some of them, there were addicts that worked their way up to becoming licensed counselors. And then some of them were just addicts who had gotten the job because of their experience in addiction. And I want to share with you guys the difference that I noticed between counselors who had lived the experience and counselors who had not. Okay, so my first treatment center I ever went to was Quapaw House, and the counselor that I had there, his name was Woody. And Woody was an old school hippie. He had long gray hair. He wore it back in a ponytail, sometimes in a braid, little glasses. If he looked like, you know, that with a little barbell mustache. I can't think of his name, but he was like, I think he was on like Alice in Wonderland or something like that. Anyways, he's a little barbell mustache, long hair, kind of balding on the top. Anyway. And he wasn't a recovering addict. And I could sit down with him and I could talk to him about anything. And he knew what I was talking about. He would share those life experiences that he had similar to mine to relate back to me. And it made me feel so comfortable sharing things with him. Well, the head counselor there was a lady named Edith. And Edith, her addiction, I think, was crack cocaine and something else in alcohol, I think, and she had been a prostitute. I mean, she had been down through there in her addiction. She'd gone to just the bottom of the bottom. And so when she would share her testimony and she would tell us her recovery story, it was like she was preaching. I mean, I could feel every word she was saying. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And I was just like enthralled in her story about her and her active addiction living on the streets. And I was like, how can this be? How can these two people be the same person? It has to be a miracle. And that first treatment center I went to was what sparked my interest to like really start thinking maybe recovery is something I could get into, right? But that was just the beginning. So Edith and Woody were my first experience with 12 steps, and my first experience with meeting someone who had been through the addiction and was like, they could understand me and we could relate and they could help me because they had been through it too. Well, the second treatment center I went to was a place called South Arkansas Substance Abuse, okay? And it was in El Dorado, Arkansas. I'll never forget it. And the man who ran the treatment center there, he was a recovering heroin addict, you guys. And then my counselor, she was a recovering meth addict. And again, like I could sit there and I could talk to her about injecting methamphetamine and tell her how it made me feel and how it sucked me in and how it took my soul. And she didn't look at me like she was judging me. First of all, the feeling I got being able to sit with her and talk to her and her know what I was talking about was a very non-judgmental, open, accepting feeling. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't help but feel like when I'm talking to someone who has not been through what I've been through, like they're secretly judging me. When I say, well, yeah, I have traded sex for drugs, and I tell that to somebody and they haven't been there, I can feel them secretly judging me. You know what I'm saying? Because what they think is, oh, well, I didn't let myself get down that low. I hear that so many times with other addicts. They'll say, oh, well, I didn't let myself get that bad. Or, oh, I never lost my job. I just did pills. Almost like it was them who was stopping themselves. And that's the great illusion that every addict and alcoholic has, is that somehow we were in control, right? But if we're really honest with ourselves and we admit complete defeat, then we were never in control. By God's grace, you were able to stop. But it's that reaction. Come here, I'll hold you. It's that reaction that I get when people look at me and they say, oh, well, I've never been that bad, or I've never went that far down. And, I didn't let myself. And that's just not, okay. It's just, you guys, it's a miracle, okay? Like, it's the grace of God that you didn't let yourself, because it wasn't you that was in control. If you're an addict in addiction, if you have a drug addiction, you're a real addict, then you lose you lose the power of choice, and you no longer have that, the choice to make good decisions. You no longer have the choice to say, well, this isn't a good idea, I think I should stop, So, when I went to that treatment center, it was a really, really good experience, because all the counselors there, except for one, were recovering addicts and alcoholics. And it was just like, you can sit there and you can openly talk about the lowest times in your life and not feel judged. And I can't, people might say, oh, well, I'm not judging. You know what I mean? But when someone says that they didn't let themselves, or I've never been that bad, that's them comparing their journey to yours. You know what I mean? And so I always try to remain open-minded when someone else is sharing their experience with me, because that could be me. I could lose everything and I could do the same thing. If somebody's telling me, I sold everything I had and for substances, and I haven't done that, you know what I think? I think, thank God that wasn't me, because I could be there tomorrow, you know? The third treatment center I went to was, oh my gosh, let me think. RCA. No, was it RCA? Yeah, RCA. And in RCA, all of them were recovering addicts. I don't think I've ever been anywhere except for one place where they weren't recovering addicts and alcoholics. And they were actually, the guy who was I was working with was a psychologist. So the fact that he wasn't an addict was okay, because he was a psychologist, and he was more, helping diagnose me with mental illness and find out what mental illnesses I was struggling with. But life experience for me is like when I meet somebody who I can talk openly with about my struggles and about my addiction. It is like such a good feeling to have, you guys. It's freeing, and I really I prefer someone who has been where I've been, and someone that I can talk to, that I can relate to. I would rather have someone that has been down through there, that I can sit with, that can understand the struggle, and I don't know, just the heartache and the sadness and the turmoil that I've went through, and not judge me, It's just a valuable asset to have. So I was thinking about, if and when, if I ever wanted to get somebody to be like my recovery coach or a life coach, what kind of person would I be looking for? And I would want somebody who was like me, that had turned their life around. And, sorry. I just feel like life experience trumps practice, learned knowledge any day. And I much more prefer it, So I'm going to go upstairs and take care of the boy, but I just wanted to pop on and kind of discuss that with you guys. And I love you guys, and I